I did, I think I did two of phase one, and then I did one of phase two. And during the course, I learnt all about abuse, the different kinds of abuse, what abuse did to partners, the ripple effect through partners and families, how it made them feel worthless and depressed, and over that period of time, things started to become good between my partner and myself, and we slowly started to get back together. I continued on with the course. It worked for me. It taught me all the things about abuse and taught me not to be abusive. And I did the course for about 18 months, I think it was. And we got back together and things were going great. And I spoke to my partner and said, do you think I need to continue going? And she said, well, maybe, things are really, really good. And she did warn me. She goes, if you stuff up again, you risk losing me forever. And I said, well, I think I've got this. I think I'm pretty good. So I stopped going and we got back together and continued renovating our house. And basically, I think I spoke about it. I put it down that we basically went into the honeymoon period for 12 months, at least 12 months. We went into the honeymoon period. We didn't actually speak about what had happened. We just got back together and started to travel along through life as per normal. Things were good. I learnt not to be abusive, so I wasn't abusive. I just tried to make things happy all the time, tried to make a lot of effort, and then after 12 months, I guess I started to get complacent and things just started to fall apart. I didn't see it happening. Not until now, I didn't see the things happening. I didn't see my partner trying to talk to me, trying to tell me that my behaviour is starting to change, I used to just turn around and go, look, I'm busy. I'm too busy to do this. Do we have to do this now? You're never going to be happy. It doesn't matter what I try to do. I've stopped being abusive, and it doesn't matter how much I try. I can't make you happy. And these are the things that I used to say to her, which obviously made her withdraw from me even more. Anyway, about 8 months ago, my whole life just fell apart again. I came home from work and she basically told me that she'd gone to speak to a lawyer and filed for separation, divorce, and prior to that, I'd already come back to the Heavy M.E.T.A.L group. At that time, it was probably too late, and I came home from work and she'd asked me to leave. Now, since I've started back with the Heavy M.E.T.A.L group, I've realised a lot more things. I've taken a lot more from the group. Phase one, I learnt more about the different kinds of abuse and the way that they affected my partner once again. But I had a lot more. There was stuff that from the first time that I did the group that I really didn't take much notice of because of the place where I was. I'd take parts of each night that related to myself, and then I'd miss other parts because I was focused on parts that relate to my relationship, and then I'd miss other parts. Now that I'm doing it again, I take more from those things. I tend to focus on what's important to me, but then I can write things down and listen a bit more. And I guess the biggest thing that I got was that I thought I'd stopped being abusive, whereas I'd really kind of just changed it, in a sense that I'd gone from being aggressive and yelling and screaming and putting down to, I guess I became passive, and I turned things around to be manipulating, like, you don't care about me, nothing I do is good enough, I keep trying, but I can't make you happy, you don't want to be with me, you don't want to be in this relationship, and etc. There's so much more into that kind of manipulating and threats. Why do I continue to bother if um, playing the victim, laying down the guilt trips, just so much more. And then I learned of what was behind all these things. Whereas the last time when I did the group, I feel that I learnt about all the different kinds of abuse, and I felt that by learning that, I learnt not to be abusive. Right? Okay, all these different kinds of abuse affect people, but okay, so I'm not allowed to be abusive. That's fine. I can't be abusive anymore. But now that I've done the group for the second time, I've realised that there's so much more behind I just can't be abusive anymore. Is what drives me to be abusive. Myself, what I've found is I've had so many expectations, my own expectations, that I've put on others that they don't even know about. And when my expectations aren't fulfilled, then that's when I become abusive in different ways, like the silent treatment or the guilt trip, like you don't care about me because my partner didn't fulfill my expectations. So, and expectations was a very, very big part as I look further back about having to come home when I used to plan to come home early from work to surprise my partner. And I'd expect to come home from work and get some quality time with my partner before the kids were picked up from school. And I'd come home and she didn't know about my expectations, but I'd planned to surprise her, get some quality time, spend some time together, and she would be busy. She'd be either studying or she'd have a girlfriend around for coffee, or she just wouldn't be home at all. And I'd walk in the front door and just go, oh, well, this is not going to happen. And then I'd get the abuse would start to happen instantly. Would be, oh, it's not going to happen. The silent treatment, straight out to the garage, start doing my own thing. And this would take place like all night. I could be just withdrawn and separated for the whole night. The next day, come home and everything's okay. And then plan another surprise sort of thing a couple of days later, and my expectations weren't fulfilled again, or for any other reason, any other particular expectations that I had, if they weren't fulfilled over a period of time, these things would just be built up, and then I would just go bang. You don't appreciate anything I do for you. I try to make you happy. I try to, give us quality time together, and then I was just becoming a verbal abuse. Well, things have started to improve. I've noticed that my partner has started to, since I have made my own acknowledgements of the manipulation and abuse and the manipulation and the expectations. Since I've made the acknowledgements of that, and I haven't been able to, like, in the past, I was never aware of that. I was just like, I'm not being abusive anymore. What are you talking about? Since I've made the acknowledgement and I've been able to recognise when these things have been happening, or I've been able to recognise that I have these expectations, and realise that you can't have expectations because it makes everything conditional. My partner has started to open up to me now, and she's actually started to open up to me now and tell me the way that I've made her feel in the past.